is back, and the White House is pushing back against the fallout. Sources tell CBS News that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth shared details about upcoming U.S. airstrikes in Yemen in a second private signal group. This one included his wife, brother, and personal attorney. Sources say the messages included flight schedules for the planes tasked with striking the Houthi targets, and those were sent on March 15th. The same day, Hegseth sent similar details about the operation in another signaled group chat with 18 people, which included national security leaders, the vice president, and Atlantic editor-in-chief Jeffrey Goldberg. Now, the outlet released those exchanges. Hegseth responded to those reports earlier today. Let's take a listen to that.
They take anonymous sources from disgruntled former employees, and then they try to slash and burn people and ruin their reputations. Not going to work with me, because we're changing the Defense Department, putting the Pentagon back in the hands of warfighters, and anonymous smears from disgruntled former employees on old news doesn't matter.
And President Trump was also asked about the report during those Easter celebrations, and he had this to say.
It's all just the same old stuff from the media. That's an old one. Try finding something new.
Try finding something new. He's blaming the media on this one. CBS News Pentagon reporter Eleanor Watson joining us now. Eleanor, what has been the reaction to Secretary Hegseth's comments at the Pentagon, where you are?
Well, yeah, both Secretary of Defense Hegseth and the President are blaming the media and former employees, but we still have not heard from Defense Secretary Hegseth any acknowledgement that sharing such sensitive details over signal may not be the best way to disseminate that information. Now, this second chat that you've talked about is similar to the first one in that it has to do with strikes on March 15th with sensitive details about the timing and the types of weapons and the types of targets. But that first chat mistakenly included a journalist, and the second chat was started by Hegseth, who intentionally added his inner circle, including his brother, his personal attorney, and his wife, who is a former Fox News producer, not an employee of the Defense Department, and to our knowledge does not have a need to know about these strikes before they happen. Now, his brother and his personal attorney do have positions at the Pentagon, but it's unclear, again, why they would need to know about such sensitive details. The Pentagon has come back, said that there was no classified information shared in any signal chat, but it's worth noting that the Defense Department Inspector General already, because of the first signal chat, is evaluating Hegseth's use of signal and whether or not he complied with Defense Department policies on classified information.
And at the Easter event earlier today, we heard President Trump just say, he kind of brushed it off, blame the media for all of this. But is there any indication of next steps for the White House?
The White House, you heard from President Trump himself, who is frustrated, tired of this story, but is blaming the media, is saying he is behind Defense Secretary Hegseth. Before we heard from the president, we heard from the White House press secretary, who said that the Pentagon is trying to undermine what Defense Secretary is doing because he's trying to make so many changes. Now, it's worth noting that some of the former disgruntled employees that Hegseth is apparently referring to were brought into the Pentagon by him, who have known him for a long time. It's not as if these are former employees who were resisting change. They weren't at the Pentagon before he got here.
Eleanor Watson live for us at the Pentagon. Thank you so much, Ellie.